support bringing those decisions down to the local level and the state level. I mean, what a great opportunity we would have in the state of Michigan if they eliminate the federal Department of Education and they take that money and they bring it down to the states and they give the states discretion on how to use that money in a way, because you know what? We talk to our local superintendents, we talk to our local school boards, we talk with our State Board of Education, our teachers, parents, and we are on the level where we can make the decisions with that money that will actually help improve scores in Michigan. So, you know, taking it out of a big federal bureaucracy and bringing that money down to the states and empowering the states to do the best things for their state, I think that'd be a great conversation between Governor Whitmer and the House Republicans on what we can do with more resources, but we have the discretion on how to best use it to help our schools. That's a very positive thing. And Democrats like Dana Nessel should stop prosecuting their political opponents, engaging in frivolous lawsuits, and politicizing everything. And they should do more work for the people of Michigan. Here, let me ask him, just because you've had a lot of questions, isn't she on a roll today? And then I'm going to go to David Eggert, and then if Gideon says there's time, I'll go to you. But Dave, you know David, he's been writing incredible stories. So if he has a question, I'm going to ask him. Yeah. And this is going to be tough because usually he helps Skubik. Yeah.
On the roads plan, in year one, how much of this is just reorganizing how you get funding out and whatnot, and then what does it mean for the ongoing years? So like, what's going to be different about this year and having some maybe big impacts because you're moving money around?
Yeah.
And how does that help or hurt going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're going to take the money and we're going to dedicate it from the corporate income tax to roads. That's what we're going to do. And by doing that, we're creating a permanent revenue stream for roads. Now, there's going to be other things we do in the future to put more money into roads, but we need to dedicate it off the top, because what's happening now is it's going into a discretionary pool, and it's competing with new government programs, it's competing with all kinds of things, universities, all kinds of things. We want to take it off the table for discretion, and we want to dedicate it off the top. So that's what we're going to do. I've shown how we can do it just by prioritizing roads over big corporations and special projects for politicians. I haven't even gotten into yet what we could do once we start going through our budget. To the schools. That's what we're going to do. And then we'll dedicate some to the Public Safety Trust Fund, you know. And again, I think it's important that we start dedicating this money and setting priorities like schools, roads, Public Safety Trust Fund, because otherwise it goes into these pots and the politicians don't spend it on smart things. They waste it on earmarks, pet projects, new programs. And then they come and you see proposals from Whitmer. Remember, we had a $9 billion surplus last year. Now we're hearing proposals about we need to raise the corporate income tax, we need to raise all kinds of money. Well, they wasted it, they blew it. So it didn't work when we gave them the discretion. Let's dedicate it to the priorities. Yeah, David. So, and this, I think it requires a higher threshold, and this is part of our education plan. We're building consensus. I mean, you have this very weak leader in the House, Ranjiv Puri, who's totally drowning and lost and is against everything. So we'll see what happens with him. He has a very negative governing philosophy, which you've seen. But, you know, there were some conversations on this last year, talking to Jeff Donofrio and some of the business leaders for Michigan folks. And, you know, my position on it has been, I think we should do it. I think that, you know, how frustrating is it that a governor is responsible for the performance on education, and then has a superintendent that doesn't work for her. And you see, we probably have the worst superintendent in the entire country in Michael Rice. I mean, did you see Timmy Beeson yesterday? Ask him. The question all of us have been asking ourselves for probably a year or more, how do you still have a job after this terrible performance in our schools? They should fire him. Well, once we put this under a governor, I think a governor will find somebody for that role that will do a much better job. But the superintendent should be accountable to the governor, and the governor can hire and fire that superintendent. You know, you'd have to talk to Governor Whitmer about what her views are on that, but it's my goal to try to move that through the House. And I hope that if Ranjiv Puri and, you know, supports, I hope he'll vote for it. But the good news is, you look at these votes like the income tax, his caucus isn't listening to him anyway. If we put it up for a vote, we'd probably have the votes. But we'll see. We're going to work through the committee process. Well, I think that we have the best relationship with President Trump, so that's just my opinion. But why is that? Well, I think you know, I mean, I've supported President Trump from the beginning, going back to 2015. So we maintain a great relationship with him. And I think it's great that Governor Whitmer is embracing Trump, meeting with him, listening to him. You know, I think it's great. Hopefully she's learning from him. But you see her policies, and the thing, I mean, she now supports regulatory reform. That's something new. She's embraced our earmark disclosure. That's positive. So there's a lot of positive things happening. You saw her sign our ESTA and tip credit bills, and that was in return for nothing. So there's a lot of really positive going on with her. So I don't know if that's coming from her conversations and the influence of President Trump, but I'm very happy about the direction we see Governor Whitmer moving. And what I tell our people is, let's embrace this window and let's get stuff done, because we don't know how long she's going to be supporting a lot of our initiatives. So it's positive. And I hope she continues to meet with Trump, and hopefully he keeps rubbing off on her. It's very positive. So, all right, thanks everybody. They tell me session starts in 1 minute, so.